Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about those digital playgrounds where millions of our kids spend their time. You know, they seem so innocent, right? But we're going to dig into the serious dangers that are hiding just beneath the surface. Let's get right into it. This quote, it's from a parent whose family went through this, and it really gets to the heart of the problem. What looks like a safe, fun, kid-friendly world can actually be designed to be so incredibly absorbing, which makes it the perfect hunting ground for people with really bad intentions.
And this is the fundamental, chilling truth of it all. It's not some weird coincidence. These platforms with tens of millions of young users aren't just magnets for kids. They're magnets for predators who are looking for easy access to them. It's just a numbers game, and the odds are really stacked against any kid who's left unprotected.
To really understand how real this is, we're going to walk through one family story. And look, this isn't just some headline you skim past. This is what happens when that digital danger crashes into the real world, and it's a powerful warning for all of us. This story starts in a house that probably sounds a lot like yours, or one you know. They had rules, homework first, screen time was limited to 1 hour. They honestly believe they were doing everything right to keep their son safe. And this part is so crucial because it shows that this can happen to any family, even the ones who are being really careful. What this timeline shows so clearly is how sneaky the warning signs can be at first. I mean, it just started with him pushing that 1 hour time limit. No big deal, right? But then the laptop gets moved into a more private space. Then comes the lying, the not making eye contact, and by week 4, a total shift in his personality. See, these weren't huge, sudden changes. It was the slow, creeping escalation that's just incredibly easy to miss when you're in the middle of a busy family life. And then came that awful moment of discovery. After noticing all those changes, the parents checked the laptop and they found everything. The grooming had escalated into horrific content. We're talking messages, explicit pictures, and videos. The predator had actually dragged their son from the game and into the dark web. And this is the detail that just stops you in your tracks. Their son was only 10, a child. I mean, the vulnerability at that age is just immense. And that is exactly what these predators are counting on. This quote, it just says it all, doesn't it? That feeling of helplessness, the shock, the trauma of realizing your child has been victimized right there, under your own roof. It's a devastating reality that this family and way too many others have had to face. So this family story took place on one of the world's biggest gaming platforms. So now let's kind of zoom out from this one personal tragedy and take a look at the systems and the policies of that platform, Roblox, so we can understand the environment where these dangers are actually allowed to grow. First, let's just try to wrap our heads around the scale we're talking about here. 75 million active users every single day. This is not some small niche game. It is a global phenomenon. And with that kind of scale comes an absolutely immense responsibility for safety. Now, you would think a platform this big would welcome any help it could get rooting out criminals. But this is where the story takes a really bizarre turn. A YouTuber who was actually groomed on the platform himself as a kid started exposing other predators. He actually managed to get 6 of them arrested. So what did Roblox do? Did they thank him? Nope. They sent him a cease and desist letter and they banned him. And get this wasn't some quiet backroom decision. What you're seeing here is the title of their official public press release. Not more on our removal of predators, but more on our removal of vigilantes. Their public focus was on removing the person catching the criminals, not the criminals themselves. So this just lays out a glaring contradiction. On the one hand, you have the company's public mission, which is all about creating a safe, secure place for kids. But then on the other hand, their documented action was to ban a member of their own community who was successfully getting predators put behind bars. So that just brings us to the obvious question, right? Why? Why on earth would a company whose main audience is children actively work against people who are trying to protect them? Well, the answer, as it so often does, seems to be about the money. So let's just break down how Roblox makes its money. Basically, anyone can create a game. Kids then buy this in-game currency called Robux with real dollars to spend inside those games. And on every single one of those transactions, Roblox takes a 30% cut. This means they are profiting from activity in all the games on their platform, even the dangerous ones. And we're not just talking hypothetically here. Investigators have found publicly available assassination simulation games. They found in-game chats where people are openly referencing child abuse material. They found characters promoting satanic cults. And since the items for characters in these games, like custom shirts, are bought with Robux, the platform is directly profiting from this incredibly dangerous and explicit content. Okay, hearing all this can feel really overwhelming, maybe even a little hopeless. But it's not. The whole point of this explainer is awareness, because awareness leads to empowerment. So let's focus on the concrete, actionable steps that parents and caregivers can take right now. So, the parents from the story we just heard, the ones who learned this in the absolute hardest way possible, they recommend these 4 key strategies. It's not about being a cop, it's about monitoring. It's about having firm rules with real consequences. It's about using the technical tools that are available to you. And maybe most of all, it's about having those open conversations about the reality that people online are strangers. This quote from the source is just such a powerful, non-negotiable rule. Parental controls are your first line of defense. If a game or an app doesn't let you set them, that is a massive red flag. And the answer, according to this parent, has to be simple. Your kid can't play that game. Period. Now for another layer of security, the source talks about monitoring software. It's important to think of these not as spyware, but more like safety nets. They're designed to scan for keywords and content related to all sorts of dangers, from bullying and predators to signs of self-harm, and they alert you so you can step in. The source material mentions a couple of examples by name, like Bark and Custodio. Now, it is really important to note these are not official endorsements from us. They're just tools that were cited in the research that are available for you as parents to go and investigate for yourselves. But, ultimately, no piece of software can replace an engaged and educated parent. Technology is a tool, for sure, but your greatest strength is your awareness. Knowing the risks, understanding the platforms, and creating an open dialogue with your kids, that is the most powerful protection you can possibly provide. And that really brings us to our final critical question. In this world of digital playgrounds, is protecting our kids online solely the job of parents? What about the platforms that are making billions of dollars from them? Or what about society as a whole? As our kids spend more and more of their childhoods in these digital worlds, that is a question we all really need to answer. Thanks for joining this explainer.